Hello, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another one of my live videos. And today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So potentially now it has been confirmed that reportedly, according to the Metro, that Sanchez, Diego Dalot and Fred are all due to miss the Bournemouth clash today. Reportedly, it has been confirmed in the press. This is according to the Metro. Obviously, Sanchez has been training, as we all know, and it looks like he was in contention to feature today. Alexis Sanchez, to prove himself under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he's set to miss out reportedly. But he's going to be definitely fit enough to play against Newcastle on the 2nd of January. That's an evening kickoff. Fred and Diego Doyle, obviously, who featured in the Huddersfield game, reportedly are set to miss out as well. I think Fred does need potentially more game time to potentially, get back to his potential level, because he hasn't had enough of it this season. Diego Doyle, who did feature against Huddersfield, he's only 19. He still needs to grow and develop very well, as we all know, and potentially, I think he can become a very good player, to be quite honest, can Diego Doyle. But as Solskjaer said, he's going to rotate, as we all know. But Martial and Romelu Lukaku look in contention to feature today, because Martial missed the last game due to illness. Romelu Lukaku has missed the last 2 games, obviously due to compassionate leave, as we all know. So, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, when Sanchez, even though we now know probably Sanchez isn't featuring today, he said it in terms of Lukaku anyway, it's down to Lukaku to prove himself. He wants them to step up, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said. But Lukaku, big game ball, his first touch does concern me very much, as we all know. And as I said, I don't see how he fits in the team. Does he have a future tonight? It depends how consistent he proves under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he's got the chance today to prove himself, because he scored 27 goals in his first season. He is Premier League proven. He has been proven to be a prolific goal scorer, as we all know, throughout his playing career in the Premier League, Romelu Lukaku. But we know he's a big game battler. His first touch does have a lot of concerns, as we all know. But it's going to be good to see Martial back in the squad today, as we all know, currently missing the last game, because potentially he's been our best player this season, as Anthony Martial. But as I currently said, Solskjaer has also confirmed that Antonio Valencia will remain captain, which is very good to see. He will remain captain for Manchester United, potentially, because Valencia obviously has been here over a decade now, or is it a decade? He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions, Antonio Valencia, but he's won the PFA Team of the Year, he's won Manchester United's Players Player of the Year, and he's won Matt Busby Player of the Year, as well as Antonio Valencia. Obviously, he's been struggling for consistency and form this season, because he was injured early on in the season with mouth injury, and he hasn't really featured in the Premier League, Antonio Valencia. But as I said, Solskjaer has actually confirmed that he will keep the captain's armband, as Solskjaer has confirmed. We've still got injuries going into this game. We've still got, I think, Smalling out, Rojo out, and Scott McTominay out as well. Bournemouth are really struggling, though. They're sitting 12th in the league. I think they've lost 9 games. They've drawn 2, and I think they've won 8. They won like 8, drawn 2 or something, and lost 9 or something like that, Bournemouth. But they are struggling after having a good start to the season. But they've got a few injury problems with themselves. They've got Simon Francis out till I think next September. They've got Lewis Cook out. They've got Daniel Gosling out. They've got Adam Smith out. So they have got potential injuries of their own. Of Bournemouth said in the last 7 meetings, Man United have won 5. There's been 1 draw, and we have currently lost 1 in the current process. We did beat them earlier on in the season by 2 goals to 1. Rashford had scored the winner, as we all know. But as I said, potentially he did say about rotating. He did say Solskjaer, everyone's going to get the chance to express themselves, as he wants the team to do. He wants them to play the United way. But Solskjaer did confirm that he's going to rotate. He's going to give everybody, including the youth and all that. The youth are going to get a chance, as I said, and he's confirmed Mason Greenwood will be playing against Reading. He's going to make his senior debut against Reading, because he's been doing very well for the reserves as Mason Greenwood as well. But so far, so good for Manchester United, as we all know. Solskjaer's still got to think about contract renewals, as we all know, because we know we've got a lot of players coming to the end of the deals, as we all know. And he's got to think about his lineups and his tactics every game. And he did admit, Solskjaer, he would like to get the job on a full-time basis. He likes Manchester United. He knows the club inside out. He knows the culture of the club, and he's worked with some of the players in the reserve team, as we all know. And he was a great player from 1996 to 2007. He had 11 great years, won honours, scored 126 goals in 366 appearances, and the confidence is in the team. He's got the team well motivated, as we all know. 8 goals now in 2 games, as we all know, which is very good to see, and only 2 conceded. So 2 wins out of 2 so far for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think Manchester United are going to win comfortably today. I think we're going to have have too much quality in the team, too much potential in our team, to be quite fair. But as I've been saying, the players are playing for him, the fans are happy, the players are happy, as I said, the players are playing for him, and positivity is now back at Manchester United, as we all currently know. He understands the philosophy, does Solskjaer. He likes attacking philosophy, he likes the attacking football, he likes the width, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But he has mentioned he's going to rotate, but at least he said he's going to give everybody the chance, as we all know. So it's likely Sanchez is not going to be featuring today, as I thought he was, because he was recovering from his injury really, really well. He's been out, I think, since like November, Sanchez, with a hamstring injury. But I think he'll definitely be featuring against Newcastle. Lukaku's definitely set to return today. Martial's set to return today. But Fred and Diego Dalot are reportedly out. So potentially it'll be interesting to see what lineup Ole Gunnar Solskjaer goes with. But as I said, the majority of these players have been impressive in the first two games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Pogba's played well. He's like two players in one. You know, whether he's in a free roll or attacking midfield, or he's in the midfield. He's like two players in one, is Paul Pogba. But I said when he's on that kind of form, when he's like 12 to 15 goals a season, when he's in that kind of form, as he has been showing, delivering, creating, providing assists, scoring goals, as he did do against Huddersfield. Matic, to be quite fair, I'm very, very pleased with Matic. You know, I know he's slow. I have reservations about him, but we all thought that when he came. But potentially, you know, he's done well in the two games. He can pass the ball. We know that he scored against Huddersfield, but we know he can pass the ball, but he is slow. He's just like Fellaini, very, very slow, as we all currently know, is the man you matches. But I think he could potentially get better under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Lukaku could prove himself under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we all know. But I think players who are young will grow and develop and potentially get better under the management of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As it's going to be potentially we're going to win this game, to be quite honest with you. Solskjaer would like the job on a full-time basis, as he did admit. We know he's currently here as interim manager at this moment in time. But Solskjaer has also admitted that he wants to tie down Martial and David De Gea to new contracts, as I did update you, because Martial's current representative said he was actually pessimistic that regarding Martial of signing a new long-term contract. He said he wasn't too confident he was going to sign a new long-term contract, because Manchester United, of course, have been in discussions about this, and as yet there's been no sign of Martial signing a new deal. He turned down the previous one when we had Jose Mourinho. He turned down that deal, did Anthony Martial. He's been potentially our best outfield player this season, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, Anthony Martial. So too is Rashford, because he's got great potential. They're both young. You know, Rashford's been here since 7 years old, progressing up the ranks very, very well. Got a good pedigree, scoring on his debut. As we all know, Marcus Rashford, and he's a great, great player. Is Marcus Rashford. As we all know, he's under contract here till 2020. As we all know, he can create chances, he can score goals, just like Martial can create chances. His pace is good, he's got a lot of tenacity about his play. I think both of them will grow and develop under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think Lingard will grow and develop more under the management of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, there's been no sign of Martial signing new contracts yet. We have activated that 12-month option to extend his contract by a further year, which we already have confirmed, which we already have done. As I updated you on one of my videos, it's a while back now, I think. So go check that out. So yeah, they activated the 12-month extension on his current contract. But as I said, there's been no sign of him signing a new contract yet. But as I said, Solskjaer is keen on getting them new contracts. As for David De Gea, same with him. There's been no sign of him yet signing a new long-term deal at Manchester United. Maybe the deal would have to be worth around £400,000 a week, maybe at least for him to secure a new deal. I haven't heard much about David De Gea lately, you know, to be quite honest with you. But it did say when we had Mourinho that Mourinho did say at the time he was convinced he wanted to stay. He was happy with Manchester United. But Mourinho did say a while back when he was here, he wasn't too confident that De Gea was going to sign a new deal. But I think now, obviously, we've recommended Solskjaer, and I think, you know, De Gea loves the club. You know, I think he potentially will sign a new deal. He's been here since 2011, of course. So this is like is it 8th season or something like that now with Manchester United. He's made over 300 appearances, as we all know, as David De Gea. We know in the last month, something that George Mendes, his current representative, had been in negotiations with Juventus because Juventus had been linked with him. It did come out in the press saying that Paris Saint-Germain were also linked with him as well. Obviously, they've invested a lot of money. I still think they're under financial fair play, but it did say reportedly PSG willing to offer him a 4-year deal plus around 300. I think it was around £300,000 a week or something like that, and a 4-year contract, and I think a fee of around 60 million or something like that. But as I said, a lot of things have changed since then, and I do think, Solskjaer will get these players to sign new long-term contracts, as we all know. David De Gea obviously was on the verge of joining Real Madrid in 2015, but he didn't join Real Madrid in 2015, and he's been fantastic for Manchester United. Won the club's Player of the Year 4 out of 5 seasons, as we all know. He's won some Matt Busby Player of the Year quite a few times. He's won quite a lot of individual awards, as we all know, and also David De Gea. He's won a lot of individual awards and he's won everything here, of course, apart from the Champions League, of course. Obviously, the ex-Atletico Madrid player, began his actual career at just the age of 13, risen up through the ranks. He won the Super Europa League, during his tenure with Atletico Madrid when he was a lot younger in his prime, of course. And he's been fantastic for us since 2011. He's been very, very beneficial as David De Gea, and potentially for me, I think he will sign a new deal, will David De Gea. But he did say before, obviously, he wanted to know if Mourinho was staying until the end of the season or not. We know, obviously, Mourinho's sacked now and Solskjaer's come in, obviously. So I think David De Gea will sign a new deal now anyway. We've got Solskjaer in charge. The team are looking really confident. And as I said, my expectations for 2019 is to get Manchester United back up there competing, challenging for honours and competing up there with the likes of City and Liverpool, of course. And get Manchester United back to how there was under Alex Ferguson, as we all know. But we've got a few potential targets for January. I still think there's players here that don't have a future, in my opinion. But we've still got a few potential targets in January. Reportedly, it said Solskjaer was going to get around £50 million to spend in January anywhere. But as I said, Solskjaer would like the job on a full-time basis. Depending on how he progresses in his 5-6 months, they may give him the job on a full-time basis. I'm not quite sure. They probably won't, to be quite honest with you, because obviously Ed Woodward and the actual club itself, I think, are obviously thinking about recruiting a full-time manager at the end of the season, as we all know. Actually, as I said, it could be potentially Zinedine Zidane now, as we all currently know. It could be Zinedine Zidane because potentially, as I did say to you, he could be the favourite. We know Pochettino's amongst one of the favourites in there. We know the Juventus manager has been mentioned as well. But Zinedine Zidane, as I said, reportedly, he did stir up suggestions, as I did update you, because reportedly Zinedine Zidane had met up with one of the Manchester United ambassadors, which is Mikhail Silvestre. This was in Dubai. So Zinedine Zidane had met with Silvestre, one of the Man United ambassadors in Dubai, and this had stirred up suggestions that he could be edging closer to a move to management at Manchester United at the end of the season. He's got a great managerial CV. He's dealt with top players. He's never played or managed in the Premier League, don't get me wrong, so he's never had any experience of managing or playing in the Premier League. He's got a good pedigree overall. He's been managerless since May, Zinedine Zidane. Man United have offered him the job, as we all know. I think he's still contemplating the offer, is Zinedine Zidane, but I think he did once say he was destined to come and manage in the Premier League, was Zinedine Zidane, because he's never done it. He won 3 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. He's won a lot of individual awards as a player. He won awards honours with Real Madrid and Juventus as a player as well, did Zinedine Zidane. But potentially he's been named as maybe potentially now one of the favourites to come in. He obviously met up with Silvestre. He was a great player for 9 years with Man United. He won 4 Premier Leagues, a League Cup, Champions League and FA Cup with Manchester United as well during his 9-year tenure with the club, Mikhail Silvestre. So that stirred up suggestions a bit. But I think Zinedine Zidane's a good manager. He was very, very good at Real Madrid. He had good players at Real Madrid, as we all know. And he's had discussions with his representatives in the past about coming to managing English football. I think he'd understand the philosophy. He has got that winning mentality. But as I said, he's never had experience of playing or managing in the Premier League, as we all know. But he could be a potential favourite. We know that Pochettino has been mentioned as well. I think, as I said on one of my live videos yesterday, as I did update you on, would Zinedine Zidane or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer be actually a better option than Mauricio Pochettino? Because potentially, if we want to get Mauricio Pochettino in, I think he's fully committed to Tottenham anywhere. He's happy at Tottenham, as we all know. He's got a good bunch of players in that Tottenham team. He's only spent £50 million, as we all know, since 2014, is Mauricio Pochettino. And potentially, he's got a 5-year deal with Tottenham. Tottenham get the new stadium, I think, in the new year. Is it January or February or whenever it is? But I know it's in 2019. They get the new stadium to Tottenham. But as I said, Mauricio Pochettino, it would cost the club 30, I think around £40 million to recommend him in at the end of the season, and we could use that £40 million or something, to get a signing on the board rather than pay it to recommend Pochettino into the club. He's proven in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, but he's good at developing young players, as we all know. But he's never won out in terms of silverware as a manager. Mauricio Pochettino, I think he has got that winning mentality. Got a good record with Tottenham. I think he's won over 100 games now with Tottenham. You know, he had a good record at Southampton as well, and he's been managing since 2009. He's obviously managed in Spain before with Espanyol. He played 18 years in his playing career as well, did Mauricio Pochettino. But as I said, you know, maybe some people wouldn't want to see him coming now. From Gary Neville's perspective, you know, won 16 trophies at Old Trafford. He said he'd be the right candidate to come in at Manchester United. Paul Scholes said he'd be the right candidate. So did Alex Ferguson, said he'd be the right candidate as well. But as I said, reportedly, Scholes thinks he'd have the willpower, he'd have the money to spend at Manchester United, so this is what potentially he would think. But Mauricio Pochettino is good at developing young players. He's got a good Tottenham squad out there. You've got the likes of Toby Alderweireld, who can be a world-class central defender. You've got Vertonghen, you've got Harry Kane, potentially the best striker in the Premier League. They've got Dele Alli, they've got Song, they've got Christian Eriksen. So potentially Tottenham, you know, they've got Moussa Dembele. Tottenham have got a very, very good team. They've got a lot of good young age talented players in their squad of Tottenham. So I think he's happy at Tottenham anyway, because he may be confident that he can gain some silverware with Tottenham in the future, because they're in a good commanding position now. They did lose to Wolves at home 3-1. You know, that was a shock, but I think somewhere, shape or form, they will bounce back, will Tottenham. You know, they've come close to winning the title, you know, on a couple of occasions. You know, they were close that season when Leicester beat them to the title. As we all know, they were close that season. They have got good players. You know, he's only spent £50 million since 2014, but I think for Tottenham to be more competitive, I think Pochettino and Tottenham have got to spend a bit of money in the January window, as I said, to get some investments in there. But as I said, but would Solskjaer and Zinedine Zidane potentially be the better option, as we all know, because obviously now Manchester United now, since Ferguson's left, we've sacked 3 managers, as we all know, we've sacked 3 managers. But I think Solskjaer will do a good job anyway, because he knows the culture of the club, he knows the club. As I said, he's had a bit of managerial experience with Cardiff. He got relegated with Cardiff, so he didn't do good with Cardiff. You were Mould. He won 2 Norwegian titles with Mould. You know, he won honours in the Manchester United reserve team, you know, when he was managing the reserve team. He praised Paul Pogba as well, so Pogba will definitely be starting today as well. But yeah, so potentially to update you on another options being mentioned. He's been mentioned in the press in the last couple of days as is the Juventus manager. We know he's not a potential favourite, but reportedly he's been put on the managerial shortlist. Potentially, he's been put on the managerial shortlist. I can't pronounce his name. It's Masmilian Summer. Is the Juventus manager. Reportedly, he was keen on coming to manage in the Premier League. I think Arsenal went with him before, you know, when Arsene Wenger left Arsenal, but obviously they recommended Unai Emery to Arsenal, as we all know. But the Juventus manager's got a good ratio, reportedly. He's won 4 consecutive domestic doubles, you know, including 4 titles, you know, since he's been at Juventus. He's been at Juventus since 2014. Before that, he actually was at AC Milan, you know, where he won the Serie A with AC Milan. So he has won individual awards. He has won honours as well. And he's been managing since 2003. You know, he's also got Juventus to the 2015-2017 Champions League final as well. And they've got a lot of good players in that team, Juventus. Best team in Italy. You know, they've got a great history, just like we've got a great history in English football, as we all know. But as I said, Man United have reportedly been interested. He's not a number 1 anywhere, but he's been put onto the shortlist apparently as the Juventus manager. As we all know, he got an Italian team to their best finish in the Serie A in nearly 15 years. So that was an incredible achievement he achieved. You know, in his playing career, he was at various Italian clubs, and since he began management in 2003, he started with a few small Italian clubs, as we all know. And then potentially, you know, went to manage the likes of AC Milan, and now he's currently Juventus, as we all know. So he's really highly experienced in Italy, as we all know. He's Masmiliano, but he's been potentially mentioned as well. We know that potentially Laurent Blanc has been mentioned as well. He has a good relationship with Fergie. He knows a bit about the club because he played for us as a player, as we all know. But he's managed France at the top level, as well as Laurent Blanc. He managed Bordeaux, won honours, managed the French national team for the year, won honours, and managed Paris Saint-Germain as well. But I think he stepped down as manager in 2016, did Laurent Blanc, as we all know. So he has been potentially named as well. But I think it's going to be Solskjaer gets the job on a full-time basis, or I think Zinedine Zidane will get the job at the end of the season. I don't see really Pochettino coming in, because I don't think he's got any intentions of leaving Tottenham. There's no reason why he'd basically, from his perspective, to leave Tottenham, as I said. But I don't think he'll come in Pochettino, quite honestly. And the club are aware it would cost us £40 million to get him in, when we could use that money and get a signing with that money, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, as I did update, Solskjaer's going to definitely give Bailly more game time. Fred's going to get more game time. Andres Pereira's going to get more game time, as we all know. But we've still got a lot of players coming to the end of the contracts, as we all know. But as potential updated, Man United have still got a few potential targets. We're not in any rush to get any permanent deals in January, as we all know. I know Toby Alderweireld. I'd like Toby Alderweireld. I'm a fan of Toby Alderweireld. I think he'd be a good leader in our back line. There's been no sign of him signing a new contract with Tottenham. He's got a 25 million release clause for next summer, because Tottenham are going to, already have, because Tottenham and Pochettino himself have confirmed that they're going to trigger an extension on his current contract until 2020, but they've also included a 25 million release clause. I said I have reservations about him. I think he's lost the pace a little bit. He's gone a bit slow, as we all know, as Toby Alderweireld. I think he needs to adjust his game a bit more. Man United, of course, were in discussions last summer of potentially getting the player in. I do have reservations about him, but his versatility is good. He can play as centre-back. You can also play him as a full-back as well, Toby Alderweireld. But as I said, I think he can complement our defence very, very well if you put him alongside Bain, if you put him alongside Victor Lindelof. And as I said, we do have options at the back, as we all currently know. We do have options at the back. To be quite honest with you, we've got Phil Jones. When he gets them running games, he's very, very good. We know that he's known for injuries. Rojo's good there, for the backup option. You could put him as left wing back, you could put him as a full back and a central defender. So his versatility is good defensively, Marcus Rojo's, but he's there as a full back. Lindelof's improved this season. To be quite fair, he's made a massive impact. Chris Smalling, he's been mainly playing with Lindelof this season. Earlier on this season, he was mainly playing alongside Lindelof, as we all know. But you've got Darmian now. I think Darmian's going to leave. I don't think Darmian's got a future at Manchester United. He's not going to get the game time, as we all know. Luke Shaw's left back, as we all know. So I think Darmian's going to leave. I think a few Italian clubs have been interested in him. He's coming to an end of his deal, as well, as we all know, he's Matteo Darmian. But I do like Toby Alderweireld. He's also Premier League proven, so he has been in the Premier League quite a few years now as Toby Alderweireld. I think he will be leaving Tottenham next summer. As I said as well, Koulibaly reportedly suffered racial abuse in Napoli's 1-0 defeat to Inter Milan. Reportedly, according to the press, that Napoli have lowered their asking price down now. But I'm a big fan of Koulibaly. He's a great central defender, the Senegal international. He's 27 years of age. He's 2 years younger than Toby Alderweireld. Obviously, Koulibaly's on a different level to Toby Alderweireld, because I said I have reservations about Toby Alderweireld, but Koulibaly, he adapts every area of his game very, very well. He has very little weaknesses. He's got great physical attributes. He's good in the air. He's got a lot of tenacity about his play. His versatility is very, very good. And I think he's good at really holding on to the ball, is Koulibaly, and he would dramatically improve us defensively very, very good, because I still think we need a central defender in there, because I think defensively we've been terrible this season. As we all know, if you saw Liverpool address their defensive problems, they paid £75 million for Virgil van Dijk, and look what he's done for Liverpool. Defensively, they're good this season. Attackively, they're very, very good. They've got great, great players. Klopp's invested in the last couple of seasons into the team, as we all know, and he's got the experience as Klopp. He's won titles with Borussia Dortmund in the past, and I think he can do it with Liverpool this season. I hate to say it as a Manchester United fan, but as I said, they're scoring goals left, right and centre. They look good from back to front, as we all know, because they've addressed their deficiencies of Liverpool, as we all know. They've got a good goalkeeper in. They've got Virgil van Dijk in. They spent the most money last summer, did Liverpool, and they haven't won the Premier League since it got founded in 1993, and they haven't won it overall for like 28 years, so that's nearly 3 decades. But as I said, they've got a great attacking trio with Salah, Firmino, Mane. They've got great, great players. Shaqiri's been very, very impressive for them this season. And potentially they have got a great, great team, and they've got a lot of talented players in that team of Liverpool, as we all know. But as I said, they've dramatically improved defensively this season. They weren't so good last season defensively, but they're now sitting 10 points clear at the top, ahead of Manchester City. They're 9 points in front of Tottenham. So potentially you've got to say it's Liverpool's league, but Liverpool's test is against Manchester City, because that is Liverpool's potential next game, as we all know. But as I said, Koulibaly is a good player. I'd love him at Manchester United. He's got a good pedigree in Europe, as well as Koulibaly. He's a very, very good player. As I said, he's under contract with Napoli till 2023. Ed Woodward has been in discussions with the Napoli officials. Man United in the process of, the Napoli president had confirmed Man United had a £95 million bid turned down for the player. Man United have had 3 bids in turned down for Koulibaly. Reportedly, he's rated at around £90 million, so potentially would become the most expensive defender in the world. But as I said, reportedly they'd lowered their asking price, according to the Daily Express and the Daily Mail, of what I read about it. I don't know if it was all to do with this racial abuse. The UEFA, obviously, I think they've investigated it as unacceptable, so to have FIFA. But Koulibaly, they paid £7 million for him from Genk. Sorry guys, it just went off. But yeah, Koulibaly's a great central defender, as we all know. And I'd love him at Manchester United, to be quite fair. He would really make an impact at Manchester United. As we all know, you heard the rumours yesterday that came out regarding Real Madrid's Isco. He's out of favour now at Real Madrid under Santiago Solari. He's a great attacking midfielder. I think he's played as a winner before. He's played as a deep midfielder before, but Isco's a very good player. Reportedly, it says Man United are due to hold negotiations with his current agent, or have already had talks with his current representatives about the current player making a move to Old Trafford, because obviously he's not favoured now at Real Madrid under Santiago Solari, and he's becoming. And I think the player does want to make the move. There's been a few teams interested in him. You know, Chelsea, Juventus, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and Manchester United have been contacted as well. And Man United have reportedly had talks with his current representatives, or they are due to hold talks, according to some media outlets. Reports that I've currently read about the situation. But he's strong, he's quick, he's got a lot of tenacity about his play, he's good at going forward. As we all know, he can score goals as well. You know, Isco as he proves, but he's fallen down the pecking order now in the Real Madrid team. And I think Real Madrid have had problems, you know, since Zinedine Zidane went, and since Ronaldo left, they have had problems of Real Madrid. And Isco's never actually played in the Premier League, as we all know, but it potentially would be good for him to come and experience the Premier League. He's grown and developed very well. He's a great player, and he would look really good in our midfield. I think he'd complement our midfield, you know, especially if you put him alongside Paul Pogba. You know, that would be an exciting midfield. As we all know, it would be a great midfield. It'd be very creative. It'd be very tenacious, as we all know. And Isco would look very good at Manchester United, you know, if he did come, especially when you put him alongside Paul Pogba. I know we've got other midfielders with Maxich's too slow, Fellaini's too slow, as we all know, but as I said, it's Isco. I'm a big fan of Isco, you know, to be quite honest with you, but there has been a few teams interested in him, as we all know. He's got around the 600 million release clause in his current contract, and I think he's under contract with Real Madrid till 2022. Obviously, when he was young in his prime, he used to play under Manuel Pellegrini with Malaga. He actually began his career with Valencia, and he represented Spain at various youth levels. He's been a full international for Spain since like 2013 as Isco as well. But his link-up play is good. He can pass the ball. He links up well with his teammates. His close ball control is very good. He's good at holding on to the ball. His pass is very good. So I think he'd be a very good signing, you know, to be quite honest with you. But I think Man United are due to have talks with his current representatives, and he's got a father that actually acts like his current agent. But I think, you know, Isco's actually demanding that he wants to schedule meetings to negotiate a deal about potentially making the move from Real Madrid to somewhere else. So he's unsatisfied with Real Madrid, is Isco, but a few teams have been, of course, monitoring the interest in him as well. But as I updated you earlier on, I've already given you an update, haven't I, on the Chelsea's transfer rumours that's going on with them. I updated you on Liverpool's transfer rumours. I already updated you on Arsenal rumours as well, didn't I? But as I did update you, I did saying, as I said, I'll give you a bit of Chelsea's. It actually looks like Christian Pulisic is going to join Chelsea, reportedly. The German press have actually reported on it, because it said Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund have come to an agreement. It said, reportedly, this is from the German press, that they'd agreed personal terms. Chelsea have got a few players that could leave anywhere. Morata looks like he's going to leave. As I said, Callum Hudson, as I said, he's not getting the game time at Chelsea that he wants. He's only 18. There's been no signing a new contract. Eden Hazard's future seems uncertain with Chelsea. Well, he hasn't really committed his future yet, as Eden Hazard, as we all currently know, he hasn't committed his future. But I think reportedly, according to Sky Sports, he said he was going to commit his future at the end of the season, was Eden Hazard, as we all know. But potentially Chelsea have got a few targets. You know, reportedly, I think Christian Pulisic is the one they basically want to sign. Potentially, they wouldn't want to identify him as a replacement for Eden Hazard, because potentially Chelsea want Eden Hazard to stay, but Pulisic reportedly, I don't know if an actual initial fee has been agreed. It did say reportedly, I think around a 45 million summer transfer has been agreed between Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund for the signing of Christian Pulisic. But Chelsea are keen on getting him in the January window. But according to Borussia Dortmund's perspective, and the director of Borussia Dortmund has confirmed that they're not willing to do any business in January. They want to keep him till the end of the season. Chelsea have been in negotiations with Borussia Dortmund. Reportedly, Arsenal just recently had a £35 million bid turned down for the player. But he's good, he's strong, he's quick, he's got a lot of tenacity about his play, he can create chances, he's good at crossing the ball as well. But he's fallen down the pecking order at Borussia Dortmund, this season. He's not getting the game time that he currently wants, and he's only 20 years of age. He's got a lot of years ahead of him, and it would be good for him to come and experience, the Premier League, play amongst different players, and experiencing a new era and that. And I think he'd fit in the Chelsea team very, very well. He would potentially dramatically improve Chelsea. As we all know, he's under contract with Dortmund until 2020. He's risen up the ranks fantastically well. He is American. He's been in the senior squad with Dortmund since 2016. We do know that Liverpool is still keeping track of the player, as we all know, because Klopp's worked for him in the past. Klopp's had experience of working with Christian Pulisic, and probably Klopp's keen on reuniting with the player. But as I said, he reportedly said Chelsea do look the favourites to sign him. It did a couple of media outlets. Liverpool, he wanted to join Liverpool, and then a few said he was keen playing under Sarri and Pulisic, but potentially it said, according to German press, Chelsea had come to an agreement over this. It's allegedly, because I don't know if it's fully come to an agreement, but it said personal terms had been agreed, and the fee would be probably around £45-50 million anyway. That'd be enough to persuade Borussia Dortmund to let him go. But Borussia Dortmund, of course, are obviously identifying a replacement for him, because they know he's going to leave, whether it be January or next summer. But I don't think he'll leave in January, because Borussia Dortmund have confirmed they are reluctant, and they're not willing to do any business in the January window. But as I said, they've got a few players that could leave. I think they need a strong centre forward. They used to have back in the day, like Didier Drogba was a fantastic player for them. They had great players such as Frank Lampard, in their midfield as well. So potentially for me, Chelsea's target is to get a centre forward in this January transfer window. We know they've been making inquiries about Gonzalo Higuain. I think Morata's going to leave anyway, because recently Morata's obviously no longer number one choice under Sarri. Plus Giroud hasn't been number one choice lately. He's been mainly recently. Sarri's been putting Eden Hazard up front on his current home. But as I said, Morata's out of favour now at Chelsea. He hasn't really proven himself at Chelsea, as we all know. Chelsea paid £60 million for him. Most of his playing career obviously was at Real Madrid. He did very, very well there when he was young in his prime. He had a 2-year spell with Juventus, of course, won honours and that, but he hasn't really proven himself at Chelsea, especially since Sarri took over. So I think potentially he could be making the move to AC Milan. Reportedly, he wants to move to AC Milan, does Alvaro Morata, reportedly. But there has been talks of a potential swap deal of Morata and Gonzalo Higuain, because Chelsea are linked with AC Milan's Gonzalo Higuain. Reportedly, Chelsea have not made an initial approach yet or any kind of offer, reportedly, even though Chelsea reportedly have been in talks with negotiations with AC Milan and Juventus over this. But the AC Milan director has confirmed that Chelsea have not made any official approach yet or any kind of offer. That's what the AC Milan director had confirmed, as we all know. But that's what the AC Milan director had confirmed. Dad, what are you doing? That's what the AC Milan director confirmed. But as I said, Gonzalo Higuain, good prolific goal scorer. AC Milan paid £16-17 million to get him on loan, of course, from Juventus. But Chelsea reportedly been interested in him to strengthen their front line, bolster their front line up. But Gonzalo Higuain, Sarri's keen on reuniting with the player. Sarri worked with him for one season. I think it was just for one season at Napoli, as we all know. But when he was young in his prime, Gonzalo Higuain, he scored loads and loads of goals. He scored 36 goals in one season for Napoli. He had a good 3 years with Napoli. He had 6 good years with Real Madrid when he was a lot younger in his prime. Scored like 107 goals and 190 appearances. His South American Juventus had to pay Napoli around £90 million. Well, it was 80-odd million, wasn't it? Something like that, to get him from Napoli to Juventus. He won the domestic double in his first 2 seasons with Juventus. was the key player that got them to the 2017 Champions League final. And potentially now he is at AC Milan. He's Gonzalo Higuain, but potentially Chelsea have made inquiries, but the AC Milan directors confirmed there has been no official approach being made as yet, or Chelsea have not made any kind of offer. But as I said, AC Milan I think do have the option to permanently sign him. To be honest with you, that's what it basically said. But yeah, Chelsea have made inquiries about that as well. Chelsea have made inquiries about that as well. So potentially Chelsea have got a few potential targets on their radar, as we all currently know, because they could see a few of their players leave. As I said, Morata's fallen down the pecking order. Eden Hazard's future still uncertain. He's potentially Chelsea's best player, as we all currently know. But potentially, yeah, I've already given you a bit of an update and have an eye on Arsenal's transfer news. As I said, Ozil's future still uncertain. Aaron Ramsey's definitely set to leave. Welbeck's set to leave. They've got injury problems at the moment, as we all know. They've got a few players they're interested in. As I did update you, we've got Nicolas Pepe they're interested in. Christian Pavon's been a target. They've also been linked with Ever Benga, current Sevilla player. Emre's worked for him in the past, and Emre's keen on reuniting with the player. So Arsenal have been interested in them players as well. But I think they need to reinvest in January. The Arsenal need to get top-class players in. They need to address the defence. I think they need a winger as well, and they have potentially been linked with a few winners. Ozil's future is obviously still uncertain with Arsenal. Obviously, he signed a new contract worth £300,000 a week last year, so they will recommend a fee if Arsenal are willing to sell him, because obviously he's failed to adapt himself under Emre. He had a good start to the season, but I think now he's out for a long time with injury. He was injured early on in the season with a back injury as well, so he's struggled for consistency and form this season, to be quite honest with you, as Mesut Ozil for Arsenal. So whether he stays or goes or not, I do not know, but Arsenal still know how much of an essential player he is, as we all know, but they've been on a downer lately. They've gone backwards a bit. They had 22 game unbeaten run, but since Southampton beat them, they've gone downhill a little bit of Arsenal. So I don't think Nunes being backed enough. It is only his first season. I don't think he's got the right amount. I don't think he got the right amount of funds. I don't think he was getting backed enough. But I think he's got plans to strengthen up in the January transfer window. Emre. But as a potential target is that Sevilla player. He's an attacking midfielder. He's strong, he's quick, his link-up play is supposed to be very, very good. And Arsenal would see him as a suitable replacement for Mesut Ozil. And obviously Aaron Ramsey's going to be leaving. I think it'd be either January or next summer. But obviously, if teams are preparing to pay a fee for him in January, such as the latest ones that have been mentioned is Paris Saint-Germain, have held talks, Juventus, then Arsenal would have a cash in for him in January rather than let him go free next summer. He's made over 2 century appearances with Arsenal. He's been there like 10 years now or something like that. I said so. He's had his years at Arsenal, but I think he's definitely set to leave. But they're interested in this Sevilla player. His representatives have been to London to negotiate a deal over this. I think there've been talks going on. Arsenal are keen on getting the player. Of course, the player's actually never played in the Premier League, as we all know. He is. I can't remember how old he is. He's 30, something like that. This Ever Benga, but reportedly he's got an 18 million release clause. He's won 2. This is his second spell with Sevilla. He's won 2 Europa Leagues with Sevilla. He's at Valencia. In his younger days. When he was younger in his prime, spent a lot of years there. Won the Copa del Rey with them. I think he played in 162 games. I think he had 1 season with Inter Milan as well. He had loan deals with Newell's Old Boys and Atletico Madrid at one point as well. Did the player, but reportedly Arsenal have been interested in him as well. As I said, they've been interested in that youngster Nicolas Pepe from Lille. Reportedly, his performances for Lille have been very, very good, and he signed a 5-year deal back in June 2017. He's Ivory Coastan, so reportedly Arsenal have been interested in him as well. They've also been interested in that Christian Pavon, 40-odd million. I think he's a Boca Juniors player. He's got a 40-odd million release clause as well as a player. So potentially Arsenal have also been interested in him as well. So as I said, the transfer rumours are hotting up, as we all know. Potentially the latest one, as he updated you with, is Adrian Rabiot, the current PSG midfielder. There has been a few teams that have actually been interested in him as well. He's a very, very good midfielder, reportedly. He's fallen out of favour at Paris Saint-Germain. Reportedly he's been banned from the PSG changing room. Reportedly there's been actually... I think Liverpool could reunite, show their interest in the player, because Liverpool have been potential into him. I think a few teams have been interested in Adrian Rabiot. I think he's made about 148 appearances for Paris Saint-Germain. reportedly. It did actually say allegedly he had agreed to join Barcelona on a free transfer next summer. He's a central midfielder. Reportedly, Barcelona could offer him a 5-year deal plus around 60 million euros in January for Adrien Rabiot. Most of his playing career has been with Paris Saint-Germain. He's risen up the ranks. He's progressed up the ranks. Potentially, he's French. He's the player. He's like won 16 major honours with Paris Saint-Germain, including Liga 1, 4 Liga 1s and the treble in 2015-16 as well, the player. At the youth level with France, he was capped 53 times, being a full international since 2016 as Adrien Rabiot. But as I said, there has potentially been no sign of him signing a new contract, reportedly, and reportedly he's been banned from the PSG changing room, and he's been in the senior squad with Paris Saint-Germain, since like 2012 as the player. But reportedly he's supposed to be a very, very good midfielder. A few teams have been interested in him as well. Arsenal would be happy with him if their team is a good replacement for Mesut Ozil. Arsenal, a lot of Arsenal fans would like Isco in their team because he's a very, very good creative midfielder. And I love Isco at my club, Manchester United. I think he's a very, very good midfielder, as we all know. I do like Aaron Ramsey. I think Aaron Ramsey is a very, very good box-to-box midfielder, but obviously he's set to leave Arsenal. There's been a few teams interested in Aaron Ramsey. Two of the teams I know that have been linked to him has been Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain, as we all currently know. But yeah, so that's been everything to update today. But as I said at the beginning of the video, potentially Sanchez, reportedly set to he's not going to be playing match today. Fred's not going to be playing. Diego Dalot's not going to be playing. That's what it did say in the Metro. We know Smalling won't be because he's injured reportedly. Rojo won't be, and I don't think Scott McTominay will be either. Well, it says they are injured. I still think they are injured. I think they're recovering from injury, as we all currently know. But as I said, my predictions today, I think it'll be a comfortable Manchester United win. I think it'll be 4-1 today to Manchester United, as I said. But I think it'll be easy. We've got winnable games coming up. We've got Newcastle after this. Then we've got Reading in the FA Cup, and then I think it's Tottenham after that. We know Tottenham's going to be a difficult game, as we all know. But yeah, I think we look a much, much better team. We look sharper. We are playing the United way, and I think a lot of money's been spent on this team, as we all know. Jose Mourinho spent over 400 million. There's been £700-800 million spent, on players, since Ferguson left. We know actually quite a few of them are left, as we all know. We've seen players come in, we've seen players go. But I think now things are going to turn around. And I think we're going to have a great 2019 with Manchester United under Solskjaer. We've had a really, really bad 2018. But I think 2019 is going to be good for us. I think we're going to have a good second half of the season, as we all know. There still is a lot of work to do in the team and that. We know potentially, I think we can get back to competing soon, get us back to challenging for major honours. Potentially, we've only won since Ferguson retired. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. We've only won like the FA Cup under Vanguard, League Cup and Europa League in Jose Mourinho's first season, and the Community Shield. So we've basically won 4 trophies since 2013, and that's if you want to count the Community Shield. So potentially, but I think Solskjaer is going to turn us around anywhere, as we've seen the signs in these first 2 games, and I think we're going to come out all guns blazing today as well, and I think we're going to comfortably win the game, as I said. So yeah, that's just news to update you with. Sanchez is set to miss, and it looked like he was going to be in contention to feature against Bournemouth, but it looks unlikely that he's gonna. I think he has been recovering very, very well from his injury. He's had a hamstring injury. As I said, Diego Dalot, who played against Huddersfield, reportedly he's missing. So too is Fred. He's missing, who obviously he played against Huddersfield. And Martial, though, is set to be in contention for this game, which is good to see. And Romelu Lukaku is. So Lukaku today probably will get the chance to try and prove himself under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As I said, so anyway, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Yes, and before I go, we will be doing the match reaction after the Manchester United versus Bournemouth game. So join me for that if you really want. So anyway, take care. God bless. I'll see you all again very, very soon.